This is what the trade war looks like in Quebec. At this industrial textile company, the machines are usually operating around the clock. 80 people are usually working the factory floor, making webbing for the seatbelts found in nearly a quarter of all North American cars and trucks, and in half of the world's airplanes.
But with what the current U.S. administration is doing, it's simply killing the economy.
Hugo Boisclair is Beltec's co-president.
It's slowing down the economy, it creates uncertainty, it creates volatility, which are the two worst enemies of the economy. So we see a business slowdown. I mean, we're sinking with the economy.
Boisclair says the company cut production as sales began to dry up because of tariffs, sending his workers home 2 days a week. It wasn't Boisclair's first choice, but it beat the alternative.
Our orders are down. We had to do something. So we did not want to do layoffs. We need to keep our expertise. We need to keep our labor.
These are the kinds of hard decisions consuming many in Quebec, where both business owners and voters are making compromises to deal with the changing economic climate.
What is happening right now is so major, so important. I would expect everybody has its own opinion, and of course, it influences the current politics that we're currently having. What used to apply 6 months, a year, 6 months, 2 months ago, no longer applies today.
Beltec is in Granby, about an hour's drive southeast of Montreal, the largest town in a largely francophone riding.
The Bloc Québécois won this riding of Shefford from the Liberals in 2019 amid a resurgence of Quebec nationalism. And just a few months ago, the Bloc looked set to hold on to the riding in the coming election. But as you're about to hear, economics has replaced language and culture as the number one issue for many voters.
At the Granby Local Food Festival, voters are trying to decide what issues on their wish list should take priority.
We really need to look at the big picture. We need to think as a country right now and not individually as provinces.
Je pense que c'est pour le moment.
This woman says she wants someone with experience in economics leading the country, and that for her is Liberal leader Mark Carney.
I mean, it's a danger, you know, becoming the 51st state. No, that doesn't sound good.
Even this Bloc supporter says Quebec can't afford to think of itself as separate from the rest of the country right now.
We're pretty much Canadians that speak French, right? We're Canadians just like the rest of us. We're with us, we're with you guys, we're a team.
According to the CBC News poll tracker, the Liberals are leading by nearly 20 points in Quebec over the Bloc and the Conservatives. The lead is all the more striking given that Carney himself only rates his French as a 6 on 10. And he's made a series of gaffes while campaigning in the province.
Nous sommes d'accord avec Hamas, nous sommes d'accord avec tous.
Nous ne sommes pas d'accord avec Hamas.
During the Liberal leadership race, he mistakenly said that everyone agreed with Hamas, when he meant the opposite.
Bonjour, good morning.
He called Nathalie Provost, one of his star candidates in the province, by the wrong name.
Nathalie Provost, à Montréal.
And said the École Polytechnique massacre happened at Concordia, and had to apologize. On Quebec's most watched talk show, Tout le monde en parle, host Guy Lepage said it can seem like he doesn't know much about the province.
Qu'est-ce que vous connaissez ou vous aimez du Québec? Une chanteuse, une ville, une caractéristique, un fromage, n'importe quoi.
Une émission, comme tout le monde en parle.
He pressed Carney to name something, anything he liked about Quebec. Carney eventually named his singer.
Chanteuse, Claude de Pierrette.
How is it possible that somebody like Carney would find his way into the hearts of Quebecers?
Michel Séauger is a columnist for La Presse and one of Quebec's best-known political commentators.
Maybe he didn't find his way in the hearts of Quebecers, but in their minds. It's not a usual election. The ballot question for once in Quebec is the same as in the rest of the country, which is who do you want to send to negotiate with Donald Trump? And to that question, the answer of Quebecers is not very different from the answer of the rest of the Canadians. Carney seems to have what it takes to take on Trump.
there are other signs that Quebecers are ready to rethink their relationship with the rest of Canada and make compromises for the sake of their economic future. Recent polling suggests around 60% of Quebecers now support pipeline projects that were deeply unpopular in the past.
What has changed since then?
Marc Perdon studies environmental politics at the Université du Québec à Montréal.
Well, what's changed is Trump has arrived into power and has been challenging with his rhetoric Canadian sovereignty. And what's I think interesting is that even in Quebec, that's had a real impact on how people see themselves, their identity.
Va travailler avec le gouvernement du Québec.
The Conservatives are hoping to benefit from this change of heart. Leader Pierre Poilievre has campaigned in Quebec on his promise to get more oil and gas projects built. Not so long ago, that would have been a risky political move.
Madame Proulx va faire sa campagne, mais qu'elle devrait.
The Bloc is sticking with its traditional opposition to any new pipelines crossing into the province, but it doesn't seem to be winning the party any new supporters.
Quebec nationalism will always be there, it's obvious. I know people who are sovereignists who voted yes since the 1980 referendum and who say, well, this year, no, the stakes are too high. And there'll never be an independent Quebec if we're swallowed into the United States.
And so Quebecers appear to be ready to accept things they once wouldn't have.
So I think there is a shift in mentality because people got knocked down. We will rise back up. We're a resilient population. We'll rise back up. But it changes the way of thinking. It changes the mentality. It changes everything. I guess that's what's happening.
As the election nears, so many in the province are figuring out how to survive in a global economy dominated by uncertainty.
And we're just working like hell to get the business back and increase back to 5 days again.